Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Now, here comes another pawsome guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.
Pause up, pet pals. Welcome to Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Now, on today's show, we spotlight two pet champions. One is helping senior dogs, and another is helping the itty-bitty kitties learn to survive and thrive. Now, first up, the Marvel world is full of heroes. Black Adam, Captain America, Superman. But we have a bona fide hero as our first guest. She is known as the Pet Safety Crusader, and she is on a special mission to improve the lives of at-risk senior dogs. She is the president of an all-volunteer nonprofit group called the Gray Muzzle Organization. Please give pause and applause to Denise Fleck. Welcome to the show, Denise.
It's well wonderful to be here. And I've got my mask off today so that everybody can see that there's a real person here rallying behind the older best friend.
And we got a lot to dive in, but you sent me your bio. Everybody check this out. I've never had anybody write this to me before. In your bio, you wrote you were raised by a Great Dane. What's that mean, Denise?
Well, I think my parents were around too. But
oh, that's kind of cool. That's cool.
My Ulysses was amazing. Unfortunately, most of it I remember from stories because I was so young. But he would get between the playpen and anybody that came to me. And a couple of times he ever so gently grabbed somebody by the seat of the pants and pulled them away.
Whoa.
Because they were a little too close.
And of course, the Great Dane's name isn't Tiny. It is what again?
It was Ulysses. I called him Yuli for short, and this is going to date me, but his middle name was Pelopony. And there was an old Jackie Gleason episode where Art Carney was reading about polo ponies.
And the honeymooners, yes, yeah.
And he pronounced it Pelopony, and my dad got just such a big kick out of that it was Ulysses Pelopony.
Okay.
Great. The dog let me pull myself up to learn to walk.
Wow.
So truly a gentle giant.
There's something you have, this affinity for all dogs, all pets, of course. But what is the affinity you have with the gray muzzled canines, the dogs?
I just have a soft spot for those seniors. With a senior dog, it's what you see is what you get. They've already grown into their paws and their personality. It breaks my heart when I go to a shelter and you see a dog has been relinquished by its owner because it got too big. People, you need to do your research and understand this. But I think, Arden, what really set me on a path was when I adopted a 9-year-old Akita. It was my first Akita named Sushi. And when I went to pick her up at the owner's house, the owner pet her on the head and said, "I'm going to miss you almost as much as my rose bush." And it was just like, that was just so heartbreaking. And this was the sweetest dog. She'd lived on the woman's back patio her whole 9 years. And she was a teddy bear. And, we had 3.5 more years with her, but we bonded so closely. Those 3.5 years felt like I'd spent my whole life with her.
I think you allowed her to bloom better than any rose garden, don't you think?
I absolutely do. But I mean, just, what a thing to say. And, after a dog had given her 9 years times, there's all those algorithms, but we use that number 7 very often, slightly incorrectly. But, 9 times 7 is 56 years of life.
Yeah, exactly. So let's dive in. It's an all volunteer nonprofit group. It's called the Gray Muzzle. Is it Gray Muzzle Group, Gray Muzzle Organization?
Gray Muzzle Organization, and we do have a limited staff, but the board is all volunteer, and our mission is really to make sure all old dogs thrive and no senior dog dies alone and afraid, because that's what happens. And so often people have had animals their entire life, and then when they get old, whether they don't want to be burdened by them or don't have the money for medical care, they will just say they're too old and either have the vet euthanize them or give them to a shelter. And, shelters typically will euthanize an owner turnip.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, let's dive in. I've had pets that I wanted to nickname Methuselah because they have lived a long time, and I find it something special. My dog Kona just turned 8. My old husky mix Chipper lived to be almost 15, and I just thought we've been through milestones together. Sometimes you have a pet longer than the life of your car, your job, sorry, everybody, your relationships. So, what's your take on the benefits of having a good old senior gray muzzled dog?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you can just look into those soulful eyes and melt for number one. But we had an instance recently where there was a 14-year-old dog, toothless and matted, that was picked up by Carolina Poodle Rescue. And they thought this was going to be a hospice dog. But then after they did blood work, they actually found that other than the dental issues, it was a relatively healthy dog. They got weight on him, got the teeth fixed thanks to a gray muzzle grant. And the family actually adopted this little dog named Peanut for their little girl because they wanted her to learn the joys of adopting a senior dog. Anybody can fall in love with a puppy, but it's really special to, adopt an older one or one that's special needs or what we call harder to adopt because they just still have so much life to live and love to give.
Life to live and what? Say that again. That was good. I got to get a T-shirt now. Go ahead. What is it?
So much life to live and love to give.
I love it. I love it. So, Gray Muzzle National Group. What? Tell us a little background and how do we find out? Because we're going to be saying the website over and over again. Go for it.
Absolutely. We're back basically.
And for you YouTubers, she's got promo cards. Go hold it up. Visual aids.
So www.graymuzzle.org. So this year, Gray Muzzle gave out $705,000 in grants to 78 rescues and shelters across the United States, plus in Puerto Rico and Canada, making our total close to $4 million now since the organization was founded in 2008.
Wow, so, that's incredible.
Senior dogs we've been able to help. I mean, there's always more that needed.
And we're going to dive in a little bit more about some fun things that the Gray Muzzle organization is doing and how you can participate. But we got to take a quick break. So you know the drill. Sit, stay. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Four-Legged Life Show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. We're yapping with my good buddy, Denise Fleck. She is the one that is the president, no money, no benefits, of, except love, of the Gray Muzzle organization. And I wanted to also give you, I teed her up as a superhero for pets, and we do need to dwell on that a little bit. I've known her for a number of years. She shares my passion to saving pet lives by teaching us humans veterinary approved pet first aid and CPR. And I'm known as America's pet health and safety coach. Well, that sounds okay, but come on, you got a better moniker. You are what?
The Pet Safety Crusader, because it is my mission to make a difference in the life of animals.
So what got you? I know you had the Raised by a Great Dane. You love all kinds of dogs. You love senior dogs. But how did you get into the pet safety area?
Simply said, I had a yellow dog named Sunny who suffered a back injury. And at that point in time, we lived in a house in the Hollywood Hills that was 110 railroad tie steps from the car to the house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So long story short, we got her to the help she needed, but I never again wanted to be unprepared how to lift or carry or do something for my fur child when they needed my help. So Pet First Aid was in its infancy, and I just jumped on the bandwagon and I practiced and I learned and I kept practicing, and I developed my own curriculum for Pet First Aid and CPR, as well as actually a high school course for animal care.
Nice.
Things. Yeah. So I've just been teaching people ever since, and just get such a warm fuzzy when I hear what they have learned has really made the difference in the life of an animal.
So I want everyone to go to that website too, in addition to graymuzzle.org. And that one is?
PetSafetyCrusader.com.
All right. Well, amen, sister. We are safety sisters. I love that. So you want people to get involved in helping out senior pets in the Gray Muzzle group. So you guys have some fun things in November. What is the significance of November?
Well, November is Adopt a Pet, Senior Pet Month. And I mean, every month of the year, 365 days, should be thinking about these older best friends, because about 50% of them don't make their way out of shelters once they get, very, very sad. But this is the month we bring awareness to that. So
what are some fun things you got planned?
Yeah, what Gray Muzzle did back in the summer is we had what was called our Summer Smile Contest, where people could donate specifically for dental grants, and they posted pictures of their dogs. And we've made it now into a calendar, so those are available for sales to raise more money to help other senior dogs.
Nice.
And additionally, we're having our gratitude contest.
Okay, and everybody that isn't on YouTube, which you should be, it is hashtag Gray Muzzle Gratitude, and Gray is with an E.
Correct. And if you post on social media a picture of your senior pet and why you're so grateful that you have an older best friend in your life, it's just a wonderful thing to share, a wonderful thing for us all to hear about and think about. And there are prizes.
Oh, did you say prizes? To me, that's almost like hearing the word treat.
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
Don't you have a senior dog now?
I sure do. I call her Princess Kiko. And after our last senior passed away, my husband and I were actually going to take a break because we hadn't had, for 30 years, we'd had a dog every moment. And we thought, well, maybe we'll take a short break. But you know what? It wasn't to be.
So tell us about Kiko.
Kiko is a 10-year-old Akita that we found in a North Georgia shelter. Once again, unfortunately, an owner relinquishment. And since it was a smaller shelter, they did give her some time. She had been in the shelter for over 30 days. That's a long time for an old.
Yeah, especially when we all are old and we got our habits. And I'm like, what? Right?
But one thing I would like to say, Arden, is please give animals time. Every few months, we see just another blooming or blossoming in her personality as she gets more comfortable and, begins to trust more.
That's a really good tip, because we all, 2, 3, or 4-leggers, have our own timetable of feeling safe, right?
Absolutely. It really, you can't just say, hey, don't worry, we're not going to go anywhere. We're your forever family.
No. So give us some tips what you can do to enrich the life of a senior pet, because the days of them fetching repeatedly or running with you on a trail, those are memories, but you can still have an enriched life with a senior dog.
Positively. I mean, obviously talk to your veterinarian, but keeping them moving is really, really important, because by getting some low level, at least, of cardio, it's getting the blood and oxygen to the brain and hopefully keeping them in the moment longer. Mm-hmm. But, dogs are all about their noses, and they say scent is one of the last ones to go. So between scent and touch. So I think, it's so important to let them sniff. Do those kind of walks where they're really getting a lot of sniffing. Let them smell unusual things. Strangely enough, Kiko doesn't like peanut butter, but I'll open a jar and let her. I know.
That's undog-like, Kiko.
Meat, eggs, and cheese. But let her sniff peanut butter. I mean, be careful what you let them sniff so that, it isn't something problematic, obviously, or that if they're going to taste it, it isn't an issue. But I even let her sniff a jar of dill pickles the other day.
Oh, really?
There's salt and garlic, so I wouldn't really want her to eat them. But most dogs, actually, if they take a bite of dill pickle, they're going to spit it out. And it's just something new to sense.
Yeah.
Take walks in a different place. If they're not great on walking, car rides are amazing. Or just
I like this. Yes.
Sitting on the porch, and you know what? You can experience that breeze in your face and hair like they do, and just take that moment to chill yourself. So very important. But, the hunting instinct is still there. So those different kinds of mats, or there's all kinds of enrichment.
Oh, like snuffle mats and things like that, where you hide treats in it and things, right?
Exactly. But you know what? I shouldn't say that, but you don't have to spend the money.
Right.
Take a towel, put a few treats, roll it up, a few more treats, roll it up, and let them unroll the red carpet,
This is perfect. Yeah.
The cup game. One treat under one of the cups, move it around.
I like that. I get confused by that game myself.
If you don't use it, you lose it. So keep that brain active.
So we've just got about a minute left. Let's wrap this up and tell us, Denise Fleck, how people can get involved and what is the coolest thing you like about good old dogs?
I think they just look at me adoringly. And that makes me feel like the most important person in the world. And knowing that you're caring for them and they're so dependent on you that you're really making a difference in their life is just awesome possum altogether. But yes, graymuzzle.org. Please check it out. And, pennies, nickels, dimes, we'll take whatever you can to help these older best friends really thrive and get their forever homes, no matter if that's 1 day, 3 weeks, 5 years. Remember, when you buy a puppy, there's no guarantees.
That's right. And I think good old dogs make us better humans.
I couldn't agree more, Arden.
All right, everybody. We've been talking with Denise Fleck. She is part of the Gray Muzzle organization, and she is Pet Safety Crusader. So we're going to have you check out all those websites. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to the itty bitty kitties with our next guest, Nancy Peterson. So sit, stay. We'll be right back. Pause up, pet pals. Thanks for watching. If you liked my video, please hit the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel. I want to keep providing you with great guests, special first aid tips, and yes, more videos of these guys. See you next time. Pause up!